Okay, let's talk about this. When is a good time to buy a new library? That's something that I get asked pretty damn often. And I want to answer that now with this short video because I was inspired by Junkie XL, who's doing the same thing on his channel, where he takes the frequently asked questions and he replies them with short videos, which are very amazing. I recommend you to check them out on his channel. But yeah, so when is a good time to buy a new library? I get that question asked pretty often. Whenever I release a sample library review, people ask me, is this library for me? Should I buy it? Now, that's a question that no one can answer except for you. I can tell you what I like about the library. I can tell you what I think about it, about its qualities. I can tell you about the features. I can tell you about the price, but it's up to you to decide if it's good for you or not. And how should you decide that? That should not be decided by the presence of a sale, or by the fact that the library is in a bundle, or by the fact that it's Black Friday and you're on a rampage and you want to buy anything. Like, those things are amazing, like sales and Black Friday and marketing. That's fucking amazing, really. Like, it's amazing. But you need to be aware of how they work. You need to be aware of FOMO, which is like the heart, the pumping heart of all marketing, is creating a sense of scarcity. If you don't buy this, you're gonna miss out. That's the message that makes us trigger and makes us type in Facebook in fright. Oh my God, guys, there's 1 hour left to buy the library. Should I buy it? Should I get it? Should I not? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, if I don't get it now for $50 less than full price, I'm gonna miss out forever. I'm gonna spend $50 more. No! And that's why sometimes we end up pressing the buy button. And then after buying it, the day of download comes and you download the library. And you're like, yeah, finally, a new string library. Yes, I have 99 string libraries already, but let's get a new one. And this one is going to be the one that is going to be definitive. And you download it and you try it and you realize it doesn't sound actually better than your other string libraries. You realize you probably acted too much on top of your head because you saw like the beautiful like string player on the video footage of the Abbey Road recording. And maybe you saw the testimonial from Hans Zimmer and you're like, oh my God, I needed this so much. And like when you bought it, you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Like after you spent like $500 on something you did not need, then you need to justify it. You need like in your head, you're like, yeah, this library, I'm gonna use it for layering. It's good for layering purposes. But you're like, you're disappointed inside. And why are you disappointed? Well, you are because you bought something with no idea if you needed it or not, and you spent a substantial amount of money on it. And now you realize that you could have spent that money on some other things, like rent and kids and stuff, life. So here's the thing, like that's why it's something I learned by using Steam, the digital store for video games, where every single year, twice a year, there's this infamous occurrence where they have sales going on. And they sell the games, and even the latest releases games, at very low prices. And for my first 3 years of Steam, I went on rampages like, oh my God, I'm never going to find this game at this price again. I need to buy it now. And if I buy it at this price, I'm still going to support the developer. So it's not like pirating. It's good. It's amazing. Yes, give me all the freaking games. And I'm all up for supporting the developers. It's amazing. But why buy something that you're not going to use? When you're in FOMO mode, you think you're going to make the best of it. But out of those 100 games I bought, I ended up playing 20 in like 5 years. 20. So that really made me think about my purchasing habits. And when I became a composer, I was then way less triggerable in terms of sales, because those are not good enough reason to think of a purchase, to justify a purchase. A good reason to justify a purchase is actually the effect and the impact the library is going to have on your music. So, for example, say you have a string library again, and you see like freaking, Hans Zimmer strings, for example. I'm not criticizing Spitfire. I never tried Hans Zimmer strings. I'm not criticizing Spitfire. Just so you know. But say you see Hans Zimmer strings. What happens? You trigger, you're like, oh my God, Hans Zimmer, the man released a string library. Oh my God. That's just by reading the name. And the marketing department knows that, It knows that. And that library might actually be like super incredible. Maybe. But the Hans Zimmer in the name is not good enough reason to buy the library. So you have your own string library and maybe you like it, right? And you're like, yeah, it sounds good. But you see Hans Zimmer string getting released, then you get triggered. And how can you determine if Hans Zimmer string is a good purchase? Well, Hans Zimmer in the name of the library is not a good reason enough, in my opinion. One good thing you can do is to actually think of your string library and think, is this library giving me all that I want it to give me? Is my string writing being like empowered by the use of this library, or is this library holding me down because it doesn't have all the articulations, or because the strings don't sound good? Maybe, and then if you notice that it's holding you down, then you need to ask yourself, did I even read the manual? Because sometimes when you read the manual of the libraries you're using, I kid you not, guys, in the manual there's information, and you'll discover sometimes that there's maybe key switches or like function that you didn't notice that make the library way louder or maybe way thicker or whatever you want it to be. And yeah, sometimes you just read the manual and you save yourself the purchase of a new string library because you read the fucking manual. Or sometimes maybe you need to learn about orchestration. Maybe you're like, oh, this library doesn't give me good spiccatos. Sometimes people send me their tracks and like, which library should I get for the spiccatos because mine don't sound so good. And then I ask him, can you send me the string stem? And you're like, okay. I receive the string stem and I notice the spiccato is just a triad going on Viola's patch at the same velocity, no syncopation, no layering, nothing. Just the viola playing triads with the same velocity all the time. And how can you expect any library to sound amazing when you do that? So sometimes you need to learn about orchestrating and layering, because if you do that, you want to write cool spiccatos, maybe you need to learn about how to use double basses and cello to provide accents for your spiccatos, and how to use velocities to build rhythm inside the rhythm and make the strings feel way more alive, and how to layer violas with violins and all those things and all the string family together to make it sound very convincing. Sometimes you need to do that other than buying a new library, instead of buying a new library. And maybe you do that, you learn that, and then that way your library you have now sounds amazing because you learned how to use it, You cannot blame the sword for being a bad samurai, kind of. Although if you here's another thing, like if you do all these things, like maybe you learn about compression to make your library sound thicker and all those things, and you learn about orchestration layering, and that is still not enough. That can happen. If that is still not enough, it means your sword is not good. It means the library is not good. So you need to buy a library that is gonna be great at those things where the library you own fails. For example, before buying Metropolis Arc, I used Hollywood strings, I think, yeah, and it sounded. First, it was Hollywood Strings Gold, so I only had the far stage articulation. Second, the Hollywood libraries from East West, they sound too much politically correct, and they are like super quiet for that reason, in my opinion. Even with compression, they do not sound aggressive; they sound leaned back. Maybe it's also because of the stage mic position, but I felt it didn't give me the power I wanted. So when I stumbled upon Metropolis Arc, I knew like my orchestral libraries don't give me the power I want. I listened to Metropolis Arc's demos and the one, and it was like, it blew me away how much powerful it sounded. I read this library, it's built for big blockbuster sound, like aggressive, most fortissimo, whatever. I'm like, okay, they designed this for the thing I'm looking for. I think I want the power I want. And it also had like multiple mic positions. So I knew that Metropolis Arc 1 was gonna complement or was gonna like destroy the hindrance that Hollywood Strings was for me, because it was powerful in the things that Hollywood Strings was not. So that was a good reason for me to buy it. And I also found it at introductory price, and that was like, oh, it's a bonus, it costs us less, but I'm buying it because I know that I'm looking for something exactly like this. So that was a good reason to do it, and that's also why it was such a, it changed the game for me. Metropolis Arc changed everything in terms of orchestral. But I wouldn't have bought it unless I knew why I was buying it for, and unless I already tried everything with the library I owned, So that's a good chance or a good reason when you should buy a library, when you know that is gonna give you the thing that your libraries cannot, and they cannot because you've gone the full length and full force to try to make them go there, but they can't. Sometimes it's also good. Maybe you have Hollywood Strings or another library, and you know how to make it sound thick, and you know how to make it sound powerful and everything. But you also know it takes you an incredible amount of time to get there, an incredible amount of effort, and maybe you just want the path to be shorter, then it makes sense to get a library that is going to sound better out of the box. It's going to make it easier for you to write music. It's going to make your process faster, which means you're going to be way more productive, more prolific. You're going to make more money. You're going to get more influence, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, if it either makes you faster or it makes you it helps you into getting to places you cannot. So for example, if you have Damage as a percussion library, which I think doesn't have like quiet organic percussion, but more like hard-hitting percussion, and you need the quiet organic percussion, then it makes sense to get Rhapsody Orchestral Percussion, because Rhapsody is designed exactly for the organic, natural sort of orchestral percussion. And vice versa. If you're new, like you're writing trailer music for the first time and you don't have trailer effects libraries, it makes sense to get one because you need it. But if you have like 10 trailer effects libraries, does it make sense to buy a new one? Not always. You know, you can learn about layering and you can build your own samples from the 10 libraries you own already. So like you really have to do some honest to God like self-assessment of your arsenal, of how much you developed your skills, of how much you can use that arsenal to its maximum extent. And then, and only then, is a good time to think, okay, maybe I could buy a new one. Like for example, over there, I have my guitars and my bass, which are like crappy guitar, crappy bass and everything. I love them though. But, you know, I could get a 7-string guitar. You know, I have the money for it. I could do it. But why would I do it? Like, I cannot even play my 6-string guitar so well. Why the hell should I buy a 7-string guitar? Because Hans Zimmer has his name on it? It's like, why? Like, it's not going to play itself. With the libraries, it's the same. You can think of libraries like instruments, really. You need to learn how to use them. Like, I laugh at the people who are like beginners and they don't even buy the libraries. They pirate the libraries and they download like, you know, 100 gigabytes or even more now. Like, I don't know, 2 terabytes of sample libraries from all sorts of developers, and they have no fucking idea how to write orchestral music. If you have Hans Zimmer strings or whatever strings, best strings in the world, but you have no idea how to freaking write for strings, you know, the fact that Hans Zimmer is in the name of the library is not going to make you write amazing music. The fact that the library is like $600 is not going to result into better music, you know? You still need to learn how to use it. So that's why I don't buy 7-string guitars for now. Eventually it will. But yeah, this is not a critique to marketing. It's not a critique to Spitfire. Again, no, I never tried anything string. But it's just a wake-up call. Like, guys, be careful. Like, not about the marketing. Be careful about your own intention when buying stuff, you know? Because we still have to do the work. I have Metropolis Arc 1, Cinematic Strings 2, and all the libraries, and people ask me, holy shit, how did you manage to buy all those libraries? Well, I've been composing music for like 5 years now, so all throughout the years. But unless I had my skills, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. So I know like lots of beginners think that if you get the libraries, then you're good. If I let a beginner in my studio and I give you all my gear, I give you a month to write something that sounds good, it's not going to pull it off with the libraries I have. So, you know, think about that. So yeah, when is a good time to buy a library? When you freaking need it. When you feel like what you have cannot get you there, or when you need to get there faster, or when maybe you're took on a new gig, and for example they ask you, we need Ghost in the Shell type of music, and you're like, oh, Ghost in the Shell has lots of like ethnic vocals, so it makes sense to buy an ethnic vocal library in that case because you know you're gonna need it and you don't have it in your arsenal. But if you see like a 200 gigabyte sample library bundle for 10 euros Facebook advertisement, and you're like, oh my God, I need to get it now. It's gonna get away in 1 hour. That's not a good enough reason to buy it. You know, when I promoted the sample library bundle once, but I said in the video, this is great if you want to write training music, you don't have many training music samples. If you already have many training music samples and everything, this bundle might not be of help for you. That's also what I say in my sample library deals and reviews. You need to think of the libraries you own, and then you can think of buying that one or not. So that's my short answer, 15 minutes long. Jesus. Anyway, that's all, guys. I hope this was helpful to someone. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.